So in this video, we want to talk about the differences between the Moustache 2 and the Moustache 1. First point, maybe speed. I've noticed it's faster when you go hands up and it penetrates a lot better against the wind. And also I've noticed when you stand on the ground and it's quite strong wind, there is less pull leewards. It feels that it's less draggy. So how did you achieve that?
So basically we wanted to give the wing less drag overall, which has a lot of benefits. So we made the profile different, so we worked on the profile section itself, but also we added mini ribs on the trailing edge, so the trailing edge itself gets a bit thinner, so creates less drag. But also the shark nose works for the quality of the airflow around the leading edge, so to create less drag because of the turbulence is created from the normal leading edge and air intakes. So those are the 3 points which are really working towards this higher efficiency, more speed, more penetration towards the wind or against the wind. Yeah.
To me, it really feels like the Moustache 2, when you go hands up, it just cuts through the air like a knife. It just cuts through much better. I think that's a quite noticeable difference.
That's because of the different profile section.
Then I've also noticed you can fly a lot slower. So the slow point isn't at the carabiners anymore. It's actually quite lower, depending on the size, obviously. But on a 26, you can really have your hands quite low, and it's easier to, go backwards actually when there's enough wind. And it really gets hard before it does stall. And at the end, I've had to land a few times with very little energy, and I thought like, fuck, I'm gonna bump in now. But then I just pulled more and it slowed me down even more. There was more reserve in there, more flare than I thought. How did you achieve that?
So, as I said before, we put in a shark nose. So the shark nose itself gives the wing a higher range of angle of attack, or at least the inside pressure of the wing will stay good or stay high on at higher angle of attacks. And also we changed the twist of the wing, so the activation or the change of angle of attack between center and wingtip. So when you go really deep in your brakes, the Moustache 1 had a really high angle of attack on the wingtips, and in my opinion it started stalling from the wingtips. And now we basically created a different twist curve to have a higher efficiency in the lower speed range, and this gives you basically the feeling you described. As I said, we worked on the profile section, but also on the twist, and we also added a wingtip steering. That's for sure something you also will notice or had noticed. So the wingtip steering itself, if you set it to the short setting, which we'll also talk about, creates quite some camber on the wingtip. But as the twist is less, or the angle of attack is less, it can create at some points too much camber for the angle of attack the wingtip has, and that's when the wingtip gets soft. But it's really only the last few cells where the tip steering is basically attached. But the center is super solid, so if the wingtips tuck in a bit, don't worry about the overall stability, but maybe think about the conditions a bit more. So the wingtips don't collapse just because you're flying in smooth air, but when it's shifty and a little bit turbulent, then you can get a few wingtip tucks, but then be cautious about the conditions and just don't fly over the limits and just go full hands up. Yeah.
I've also never had more than a wingtip, but I think it's quite noticeable that the wing overall, it gives a little bit more feedback. You feel more what's going on in turbulent air. Then I also felt it is quite more agile, more nimble. It kind of feels smaller when I'm flying it. It feels like a smaller size. How did you achieve that?
So We achieved it with, like I said, the different twist we gave the wing, but also the wingtip steering. So we have a tip steering line which goes from your main brake line basically straight towards the wingtip. So what it does, when you pull your brake toggle towards the inside, so you want to go, let's say, to the right, and you pull your right brake toggle to the left, it will basically activate the wingtip brake first, which creates drag on the wingtip, which will yaw your wing and give you roll, but without creating too much lift. So on the Moustache 1, this effect was also there, but way less than on the Moustache 2. So when you want to make a really tight turn, you pull the inside brake towards your body center. So you create a better roll without getting this lifted feeling of the inside wing side. Yeah.
I really like that wingtip steering. I think it's a game changer for Parakites. It's quite amazing.
There is one more point I want to add for the wingtip steering. I think we'll also talk about it in the safety video, but be aware of the direct line going through the tip steering, going straight to the wingtip. So if you do a stubby touch, you really need to be careful to not put the stubby somewhere where the line could get tangled, because it just goes straight to the wingtip. So really be cautious about this, but yeah.
Exactly, that wingtip steering line is very far outside. It's very easy to get caught somewhere with that wingtip steering line. Yeah. I've also noticed you've reduced the lines overall. There's less lines on it, right?
There is less lines. So on the Moustache 1 we had 3 main lines on the A, but 4 main lines on B and C level. Now we went to 3 lines, 3 main lines on all 3 levels, just to give the wing a little bit less line drag and overall more efficiency. And yeah, worked out good.
Cool. I've also noticed that the minimum sink is different, the best glide position is different, and also the stall point is different. How comes you've changed all of this?
So this is a bit of a combination of different parameters. So the profile thickness, profile itself is different. So the polar of the profile is different, but also the twist, like we said. So the whole wing gets twisted and gets shaped in a different way with your hand position, and that's basically then resulting in different hand positions. But it's just something you need to know and get used to. But overall, it's still really intuitive, and it's even more progressive. So we have a little bit less holding forces on the above the best glide position, between best glide and full speed. But then at the bottom, where we approach the stall speed, it gets even harder and better to feel the stall incoming.
Yeah. I agree, yeah, that's very well noticeable, yeah. The old one was kind of soft and all of a sudden became hard, and the new one is much more progressively becoming hard, yeah. So we'll talk about this in another video on the flying techniques, where exactly is going to be the best glide, where is the minimum sink, and where the stall point is going to be, so make sure to watch that video as well.